Today I'll be working with the printed cork stack, the decor noir stack, some mailer boxes, hemp twine, gold enamel dots, and a few cards. So first I took a cork background from the cork printed stack that has a bunch of flowers on it. I cut out all of the flowers that were whole flowers instead of any bleeding off the page, and I took my Copics and colored them in so they would be beautiful colors against the black and white decor noir stack and the printed cards that I used. The video is not very contrasty, and so you can't see as clearly as I would love you to be able to see how really colorful they are, but I did take some pictures, and at the end you'll be able to see. So I am starting my first card, and I lay out the lily cork flower, my sentiment, my card, and I turn on my glue gun because I'm going to use my glue gun to put together most of this card. Throughout the video, I show you 3 different types of bows that you can tie using twine or hemp cord or anything that's small like that. This one is just pretty much a classic bow with 3 different color strands of hemp twine. I'm going to go ahead and lay out the card just to make sure that everything is sized well and that I can fit everything that I want to put on the card on that size. And then I'm going to attach the hemp bow. Yes, I'm going to use a glue gun to do this. And I just want to remind you that the video is sped up, so even though it looks like I'm sticking my finger in hot glue, I did sort of do it slowly enough that the glue is still a little bit pliable, but it didn't burn me. It wasn't hot enough to hurt me. So just be cautious. So I'm gonna assemble the rest of my card, and I use the hot glue for this project for 2 reasons. One, because it sticks the cork just slightly better than a paper-to-paper adhesive, and the second reason is because when you put hot glue on a paper-to-paper project or a paper special materials project, it gives you a little more dimension, just slightly, than a paper-to-paper flat adhesive would. Lastly, I'm going to add some glittery gold enamel dots. They're larger ones, and so I'm just going to put 3, and there's my first card. The second card is going to be a horizontal design, and it is going to feature the 4 of the smaller cork flowers that I have cut out of the big cork background. So again, I'm just laying out the card, trying to position things so that they're all going to fit on the card base and seeing where everything is going to fall. The second type of bow that I'm making is a 2-part one. I'm making the long pieces and the short little arms with 1 piece of twine, and then I made another bow with other ones, and I'll just layer those. Again, I'm going to use hot glue to attach. Then I just start assembling my card putting everything back into place, and right there I was just checking to make sure that I had left enough room for the little bouquet that's going to be on the side. And this is a section of the video where I show that, of course, I am not perfect. I completely put that down, not even crooked, very crooked. And so I just pick it back up, and I put some more hot glue on it and just reposition it. No big deal. I also left a little room around the sides so that I can be sure if I want to stick one of the flowers under that top note shape, just like I'm going to do right there, then I'll have enough room to do so. I use 2 different hot gluing techniques here. One is that I am putting the glue directly to the paper and sticking the flowers, and then the other is that I put the glue directly on the flowers and stick it to the paper. For whatever reason, it just gives a little bit of variance between one type and another, and it gives me a little bit of different dimension between each of the flowers. Again, I'm going to finish it up with the gold enamel dots, and I decide that if I'm going to stick the one in the middle of a flower, I need to use the hot glue. And there's my second card. For the third card, this is going to be another vertical design, but this time I'm just going to use the 3 flowers that I cut out of the paper that all look pretty much exactly alike. They're have a little bit of variance in sizes, but other than that, they're almost identical. For the third bow, I just take one long piece of hemp twine. I curl it around my fingers many times, and then I take the 2 arms and I wrap them around the middle, sort of the way you would do with a bow maker, but I just use my fingers. And when I tighten it up, it pulls it all together. I slip it off my fingers, and I kind of have a crazy, cute little quirky bow there. So I'm going to start assembling my card. This one's pretty easy to put together. I attach my sentiment with hot glue. I put a lot on this one because I kind of wanted it to stand up a little bit. And then I start putting my flowers back on. I did leave some of the flowers to hang off the ends of the card, but I figure most handmade cards are handed to the person, or at least I hand most of my handmade cards to the person I'm giving them to, and I don't really send them through the mail. But you could get a slightly bigger envelope and send them if you wanted. They're not that dimensional, really. So I finally attach my bow, and then, like all the others, I go back to the gold enamel dots. And I'm going to use these as the flower centers, so I decide that I'm just going to take them off the paper and the carrier sheet and hot glue them right to the cork flowers, just skipping any possibility that anything is going to fall off the front of my card. And last but not least, the third card. Now I wanted to give these as a gift to somebody who I'm going to stay with very soon. And so I decided to use one of the mailer boxes and make the 3 cards into a card set. So I make sure that all the cards are going to fit in a 5x7 box. And then I take probably one of my favorite background papers from the Decor Noir stack and the 2 largest of the flowers that I cut and colored. And I'm just not very precisely cutting myself a background panel for the front of the box. And as you'll be able to see a little better in the photo at the end of the video, I decided to cut it so that there was sort of a phrase that stood out in the middle top of that box once I attached it. So I put it on there with some paper to paper adhesive and smooth it down, and then I decided that I'm going to attach these big flowers right over the front of that. Now, as you can see here in the next few seconds, I have a bit of a hard time figuring out how I'm going to put those flowers, how they're going to be positioned, because I kind of wanted to fit them on the front. But then I decide I don't need to do that, and I'm just going to glue them down, and whatever kind of falls off the side, I'll just glue that over the side of it. So as you can see, those leaves just are going to get glued right there over the side, and I just smooth them down, and it ended up looking really cool. Lastly, I'm going to finish it with some of the gold enamel dots. Again, even though I'm doing this part mostly over paper, I still use the hot glue because if it's going to be on the outside of the box, I really want it to stay. So there is me finishing up the front of the box, and I just put the top back on the box, and there you go, instant gift. Here are some better exposed photos of the finished cards. You can see they're very black and white with gray and some brilliantly colored cork flowers. I just wanted to remind you that all this stuff is available by DCWV at Michael's. Thanks so much for watching the video, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.